Yes, welcome along to episode 14 of Upping The Ante in association with Bet365 with David Jennings and Gavin Lynch, counting down to the 2022 Cheltenham Festival. And I have to say, viewers, after Sir Gerhard won on Sunday, I was worried, Gavin.
Were you?
I was very worried. I thought I'd be doing the show on my own. I thought Gavin would have earned his retirement fund and you'd be jetting off into the sunset and never to be seen again. Gavin Lynch, Sir Gerhard, Gallop in the Champs, Party Central, your charity bet on the show last week. It must have been the ultimate Dublin racing experience for you.
And it was good, yeah. I actually lost a few quid on Saturday, but luckily I had a few bits going into Sunday, and Sunday was great. So I think 6 favs in a row. So I think great to see the bookies getting a bashing for once, and good to see punters winning. I was there Saturday. The atmosphere on Saturday was really electric. Like it was like an All-Ireland final. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was magic.
13,000 people maybe there on Saturday. Obviously there was lots of queues and stuff for drinks and food and that, but anyway I think they fixed that for Sunday, so lessons to learn there. But yeah, brilliant atmosphere on Saturday, and various people came up to say hello, which was lovely, and they seemed to enjoy the show, so that's good. And
was a good day for you on Sunday? Was it good, very good, or excellent?
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Party Central, I backed it a week ago after it was declared a non-runner in the Sol Arena, so that was good. And then Anne-Marie dropped us up to Leopardstown, and myself and Peter went, and then went into town afterwards. I met my 2 brothers who were at the rugby, and then met my sister and her husband. So the Lynch's 4 of us out together. It was great.
In paradise.
Yeah, it was great.
And the main thing is Gavin is here. He hasn't retired. He still has to earn a few bob, so he's here. And up in the ante, it's week 14. We're getting close to Cheltenham. I always think, Gavin, we get to the stage, it's in 3 parts, okay? You get to Christmas, and then you get to the Dublin Racing Festival, and we're on the run-in now. Squeaky bum time, as they call it.
Yeah, 5 weeks to go, so.
5 weeks to go. We're getting excited.
Yeah.
We get on with the show?
Yep.
Let's get on with the show. Let's kick off with our questions from the crowd. And the first question this week comes in from Rio Byrant. And Rio wants to know, Gavin, if Gallopin the Champ and Bob Ollinger both show up in the Turners, who wins? And deep down, what race do we think Gallopin the Champs is going to go for?
I hate these questions that are hard, where it's not obvious.
I know. Thanks, Rio.
It's like somebody asking you, who's your favourite child? Picking between Bob Ollinger and Gallopin the Champ. I nearly love them as much.
Did you find an answer, though?
I think that after Christmas, I would have said Gallopin the Champ would beat him. He'd go out in front, and he just mightn't catch him. After Sunday, I think it'd be very, very, very tight, because I think that Gallopin the Champ, he lunged at a couple of fences, the first one down the back and the third last, he just launched at them a little bit. And I went and actually looked at Bob Ollinger's jumping and punch down, which to me was fine, it was perfect. So I think over 2.5, Bob might just edge it because he has a turn of foot. But over 3 miles, I think Gallopin the Champ is just going to be a fantastic stayer. Yeah. Definitely over 3 mile I'd pick Gallopin, and in the Gold Cup I'd pick Gallopin.
So Turners, if 2 of them go for the Turners, which Ruby Walsh suggested last week, you'd be a Bob Ollinger fan?
Very tight, but just.
Yeah, I think I'd be exactly the same.
But very tight.
But do you know what, Rio? It doesn't matter, because if I was pricing it up, I'd be roughly somewhere between 1 to 33 and 1 to 66 that Gallopin the Champs goes for the Brown Advisory.
I wouldn't be.
He's an absolute certainty to go for the Brown Advisory.
He should. I think well, sure. Look, Willie Mullins often makes decisions that we don't all agree with, but he usually is right. So I think he'll go for the Brown Advisory as well. I wouldn't price it up like that, but I'd say 1 to 5 maybe.
Yeah, okay, I exaggerate it, maybe 1 to 5. Okay, but if I know Willie Mullins, and I definitely don't, but if I think I do, he will go for the race that he thinks he's got the best chance of winning. Yeah. And he will think he's got a better chance of beating Brave Man's Game than he does of beating Bob Ollinger.
Yeah, I think if he ran in the Brown Advisory, he'd have a lovely day out and he wouldn't have a hard race.
Yeah, I think he'd win it comfortably as well, probably.
Yeah, so. But 2 brilliant horses and 2 novices going chasing next season. We might get to see them against each other maybe in Punchestown. We might, that'd be a massive crowd. But going them, watching them next season maybe at Christmas in Leopardstown against each other over 3 mile, that would just be...
You got me excited now, Gavin.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, that's Bob Ollinger and Gallopin the Champs, 2 of our crack novices. So our next question this week comes in from Jay Myers, and Jay wants to know, an 8-year-old Honeysuckle against an 8-year-old Ante Post. So 2 of them at their peak, Gavin, in the champion hurdle. Who wins?
Sure, look, our memories are quite short term. I'm going to probably say Honeysuckle, so you don't start giving out to me. But yeah, Honeysuckle. Just to keep it in perspective now, at the moment, Ante Post finished on a rating of 166 after bolting up an entry. Honeysuckle currently is rating 165. 165, yeah. So just remember that. And also, Ante Post won 15 of her 17 starts. Yeah. The only 2 times she didn't win, so you have to remember, she was an amazing mare. Stairs where she didn't stay. In the stairs.
And did she fall one day in the mares? No, she didn't fall. Did she fall? She did fall. She fell in the mare's hurdle.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the most famous fall of all time. But Honeysuckle became the first horse ever, I believe, to win his or her first 14 starts over
beat
hurdles.
Beulah.
So that's an amazing record.
Yeah.
When the people start talking about Dawn Run is the next question, because she was also amazing. I think in a 2-mile champion hurdle, I think Honeysuckle might beat the two of them. But Dawn Run is very special, having won the Gold Cup. So it's a different argument.
Yeah. It's funny because Ante Power and Honeysuckle, probably their best trips, both of them, is 2.5 miles.
Brilliant point.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'd say, it's only when you go back, it's recency bias, isn't it? We think, Honeysuckle, and then you go back through Ante Power's form, and you look through even the day she won the Grade 2 Novice Hurdle at Punchdown. She beat Don Cossack and Defy Logic. It was an unbelievable performance.
Yeah.
Like she was exceptional, and probably unlucky not to end her career unbeaten as well.
Yeah, and Ante Power won 5 Grade 1s. Honeysuckle has won 10. You have to remember Apple's Jade won 11, so she's another brilliant mare as well.
So where are you going?
In a 2-mile champion hurdle,
it's 11. It's 10 to 11 each of two. Who are you backing?
Maybe again, it's like Bob and Galloping. Maybe just Honeysuckle, but it's hard to know. Yeah. I doubt we'll ever see it.
Just to keep it right, I'll go for Ante Power. But I would say, because she's won 14 in a row, that Honeysuckle is better.
And the last thing I'll say is that I went back the last 30, 40 years, but she'll probably become the first mare ever to win 2 champion hurdles if she wins it.
Unbelievable, yeah.
And the thing about her is that I think where she wins basically every race is between the 3 furlong pole and the 2 furlong pole. She just injects this power, and nobody can go with her.
And as well as that, I know certain people and professionals are saying they didn't like the Totter performance when the last line was laboured, but I think horses are cleverer than we give them credit for, and she's so used to winning. She knows when the job is done.
She's done that before. Anyway.
She knows when the job is done.
She does this little dance at the last a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But basically, in those 14 races, the vast majority of them were over at the furlong pole.
Yeah, okay. So Honeysuckle for you. And while I think Honeysuckle is better and more of a legend than Ante Power, just to balance the books, I'm going to go for Ante Power. And our third and final question this week comes in from George Walker. And George wants us to pick out our 2 biggest losing eye catchers from the weekend, Gavin. Just two.
Well, look,
it takes 2, baby.
People are paying a lot of money to watch this on YouTube, so
I'm seeing a list here now, and it's the list. Right,
I'll go be really quick. So get out the pen and paper. 6 from each day.
Okay, have you got them in order?
Yeah.
12 to 1.
No. Just
have you your 2 biggest though? At some
I'll come back to that in a minute. So number 1 I have chronologically is Manila Crooner, mistake 2 out, beaten just under 3 lengths. I know you like Manila Crooner, ran a cracker. Ille Tate Tomp, that was third, first time out over hurdles in a Grade 1, ran an absolute blinder. So that's a horse for the future.
Yep.
The Tide Turns was beaten 8 1/4 lengths. I think it needs 1 more run to get into the Boodles.
Oh, really? Why?
Do you not need 3 runs to run the Boodles?
Oh, I thought so. Why?
Or maybe not.
It would have made an hurdle, sure.
Okay. The Tide Turns ran a cracker to be beaten at 1/4 lengths. Bustleton was an eye catcher, I thought, was beaten 15 lengths, has a rating of 137 and could be won for maybe a Paddy Power plate over 2.5 miles. Good novice. Plenty of experience. Manila Indo, I think that could end up being a Gold Cup or someday.
Do you?
I do, yeah.
That's from left field, Gavin.
Last year was beaten. Lawrence is looking at me wondering what I'm talking about. Last year...
Lawrence doesn't follow racing, and he still knows that Manila Indo in the Gold Cup.
Last year he was beaten 6 3/4 lengths behind Kenboy. This time beaten 6.5, so perfect prep for Cheltenham. We all know he gets better in March, so Manila Indo has to be on the list. Dunboyne finished 13th in the 3-mile handicap hurdle. Made a bad mistake 2 out, got butchered at the bend, so... He's 10 to 1 favourite still for the Pretemps final. To me, that's a bit short, but he definitely was an eye catcher.
Okay, that's the
on to Sunday. Say Goodbye, who was second to Party Central. She's gone up a stone.
Flattered though.
Yeah, but all I'm going to say to you is that if Say Goodbye gets up to 2.5 mile, 2 mile 6, stayed on very well, and was 6.5 lengths clear of third. So I think maybe even 3 miles in time.
Okay.
Foxy Jacks has to go right-handed, went left-handed, finished second to Birchdale. Birchdale's gone up £12. Foxy Jack's up to 139. In the same race, Gallant John Joe got butchered once or twice.
Yeah,
got badly hampered. Stayed on very, very well, I think, to be fourth off 142. So Gallant John Joe's one to keep an eye on. Blackbow needs to be dropped back down to 2 mile. Didn't stay the 2 mile 5, so he could win a 2 mile race. Liberty Dance, I thought, was the best mare. Just things didn't go right for up the inside. A bit unlucky. I thought she's very good. And the last one is Glan. Prefers 2 mile on good ground, like it did at Fairy House. So 2 mile 2 on Yielden was too far. So she could win a race over 2 miles. So
going back to the question then, Gavin, George wants your 2 biggest losing eye catchers, please.
I suppose Dunboyne was the most unlucky because he got butchered. And we'll also maybe go for Manila Crooner.
Okay, yeah, Manila Crooner was my number one from the weekend. 2 mile 6 Leopardstown, too tight, too sharp for Manila Crooner. Albert Bartlett, that long run from the second last to the last. Oh yes, baby. Tipped up a 10-1 and Up in the Ante last week by David Jennings. That was a decent shout, wasn't it?
Yes.
And my other one is Autumn Evening, who I thought travelled like a dream in the Liffey handicap hurdle. Straight at 1.54 and running. And I'd say if Sean O'Keefe had another go at it, he'd do things a little bit differently. I think he would have sat and then maybe went after the last. But he was travelling so well, he kind of had to go.
Yeah.
But Autumn Evening, to me, in the county hurdle, I think has got a massive chance. There was some 20-1 available after the race, but that has long since gone. But Autumn Evening and Manila Crooner are my two biggest eye catchers from the weekend, George. Now, folks, it's time for the week that was, and what a week it was. And before, Gavin, you do your party piece, which is exceptional every week. A quick shout out, Damon Moffat, one of the biggest fans of the show. He turns 50 this week.
All right.
Always sends in a question, always has feedback. So Damon, happy birthday to you. And Gavin, I was in Leopardstown on Sunday, and an absolute gentleman came up to me, he tapped me on the back, and he said, "There's a few quid for Cancer Trials Ireland."
Really?
He give it to Gavin.
Brilliant.
Phil Spry was his name. What a gentleman.
Jeez, that's lovely.
And I can confirm, Gavin, you have received the money. It didn't go on Castmate in the Liffey handicap hurdle. Gavin has got the money and it's gone to a very worthy cause. So thanks to you, Phil. And you bumped into a few people as well?
Yeah, as I said, a few people came up and said hello and said they liked the show. And there was even a father and son, I didn't write down their names, so I've forgotten their names, I'm sorry, from the UK. And it was the son's 30th birthday. And they were telling me that nearly every Tuesday they try and watch Up in the Ante together every Tuesday. So how are you, lads?
Well, it meant a lot to you if you didn't even remember their names.
Sure, you'd be busy.
You'd be too busy, Gavin, too busy getting selfies. Anyway, the week that was,
yeah, so,
do your best now.
We're going to mention one horse later on that did a brilliant time, so just to prepare for that. And secondly, last year...
How do we prepare for that now?
Don't know. At the Dublin,
psych ourselves up.
At the Dublin Racing Festival last year, there was 11 horses went on to win at Cheltenham, which was an amazing record out of 15 races. 5 of them won, 6 got beat. So just watch the ones that got beat as well as the ones that...
Excellent. Where are we starting?
The obvious place to start is Limerick on Tuesday.
Obviously.
Yes.
Yes.
So only one before Leopardstown. State Man on Tuesday was 1-7. Poor Maiden Hurdle, won very easy. Is now 14-1. Ante Post with Bet365 for the Supreme and the Ballymore. They seem to like that horse a lot. There's a lot of talk about him, so just keep an eye out.
Yes.
On to Leopardstown on Saturday. The first one we'll talk about is Manila Crooner. We're going to have to call Danny Mullins Canny Danny from now on, because
Canny Danny, I like
Canny
that.
Danny, yeah,
That's nice.
He's very canny from the front.
Yeah.
Stole
Brilliant
the race in
jumping
ways.
display.
Brilliant jumping. And then I love the way that Danny just took a pull before the second last, just to give him a breather, and then kicked on again. He won by 2 3/4 lengths from your horse, Manila Crooner. Now, afterwards, the quote I heard was that Willie said, "I don't see the need to step up a trip." And a friend of mine said he was interviewed by Nick Luck and said that I think we need to step him up. So I'm not sure there.
Well, just on the weekend, so I was there both days, and I spoke to Willie and said, "Willie is sick of the sight of me."
Okay.
But Willie, the theme for the weekend was, this is the Dublin Racing Festival. We are not talking about another festival beginning with C that starts next month. It's brilliant to be here. It's brilliant to win these races. So we didn't get as much kind of, this is what he's going for next.
We didn't get any.
No.
With all of Willie's novices, we don't know where most
I kind of
of them
agree
are
with
going.
him though.
Yeah,
it's a Dublin
right.
Racing Festival. It's brilliant racing, and he didn't want to take the glow off it.
No, he's right in that he has to get them all there, get them fit, and then decide, you know.
But this is a Cheltenham Festival preview show, so it's no good to us.
He's a cocooner of the two Manellas, a 7-1 Ante Post for the Bartlett, an 8-1 Ante Post for the Ballymore. So just to tell you. Your horse, Manila Crooner. What would be very, very interesting is if from the same maiden hurdle at Christmas, Journey with Me, Manila Crooner and Kilcrut, if Kilcrut won the Supreme, Journey with Me won the Ballymore. And Crooner won the Bartlett. Not saying it'll happen, but it could.
Well, you'll get the final leg of that treble up anyway.
Jumped better at Punchestown and then made a couple of mistakes. Obviously made a terrible mistake 2 out. Lost a few lengths and then stayed on very, very well. The 3 miles of the Bartlett will obviously...
Oh, the new course. The new course.
He's 7-1, 6-1 for the Bartlett. So on to the 4-year-old race, won by Vauban. I backed Phil Dore. I fancied Phil Dore, but it looked, because they were all stacked together coming to 2 out, to me it looked like they went very, very slow, which suited the winner, who was a listed winner over a mile and a half in France. Phil Dore will run better in the Triumph, particularly if something like Porticello goes off 1,000,000 miles an hour, soft ground, 2 mile 1 up the hill, but I still don't see him turn it around. I don't. Vauban was very, very good. was on the outside, made a couple of mistakes and also jumped out to his right. Paul was talking about that afterwards, that they'll try and fix that for Cheltenham, but he looked very good horse, didn't he?
Excellent, yeah. And it looked like, I didn't know after being reasonably keen, and it's hard to know what to make of his head carriage, but between the kind of halfway up the run into the line, he was nearly going away again.
Yeah.
Yeah, very impressive.
I know, very impressed. We're actually talking about the trying further later, so maybe we leave that for the minute.
Yep.
Also on Saturday, Blue Lord gave Riviere to tell £9. Will be 7 in March, so he's going to be £2 better off with her. But to my money, I backed Riviere to tell, and I think if she jumped the last 12, she would have won. What do you think?
I agree with you.
Blue Lord, you were saying to me just off air that you were slightly disappointed.
Yeah, I can't recall a race where I obviously fancied the winner and tipped the winner, but I was disappointed. Yeah. I went into the race thinking Blue Lord would definitely win the Arkle. I came out of the race thinking Blue Lord definitely won't win the Arkle.
Okay.
That's the way I was.
Okay. I suppose, as we said before, maybe he wasn't quite top-notch over hurdles, but he's settling better. He jumped quite well, but as you say, he just didn't have the wow factor.
He's a gorgeous horse, though.
Yeah, lovely looking.
He's like Rachel McAdams. He's unbelievable.
Paul said afterwards that a gust of wind forced him across in front of Riviere to tell, so that was a bit unlucky that the wind came at that exact moment.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Riviere to tell, she's a brilliant mare. I think that was her 5th run over fences. 2 punched and 1 in Navan. Leopardstown at Christmas when Fernie gave her a stone and beat her, or £13 and beat her.
She'll be placed in an Arkle, won't she?
Yeah, she will. She's going to be up there, sure. Normally she jumps very well except for that last mistake. So, Jack Kennedy received a 4-day ban for excessive use of the whip, which to me seems crazy. I didn't get that. I've watched the replay twice and I don't see why he did.
He hit it more times than he was supposed to?
I counted maybe 6 or 7. Now it's hard to judge all the time, but I just thought that was excessive. Holson and Callure fell. St. Sam made a couple of mistakes, 4 out and 2 out, but maybe needs further. Usually the 5-year-olds from the trying further year usually do. We're going to talk about Davy Russell and Conflated. Davy Russell's some man, isn't he?
142 years of age. He's
42.
like a young fella. He's like a gossin.
And the appetite he has for it.
Like I'm saying, right, I'm nearly 37. I'm saying to myself this year, I'm going to go, will I play football and stand in goals? It's too much effort. The pain and torture that man has put himself through to get back.
Yeah. And
to get back to the level he's right on now. He puts people like me to shame.
He was interviewed after he won the handicap hurdle on Sunday and he was so excited. Yeah. He said that showing the kids videos of Conflated winning on Saturday night put them to bed and they fell fast asleep. So
that was more entertaining than that, to be honest with you.
Davey said that normally this horse hangs a bit left or right and he makes mistakes like he did in Wexford. He jumped terrible that day. His jumping was brilliant, wasn't it?
Apart from the last, yeah, brilliant.
Apart from the last, yeah. But he certainly was making up ground at each fence.
He wasn't, as Ted Walsh christened him, a dirty, rotten mongrel anyway on Saturday. He was terrific.
He's 12 to 1 Ante Post for the Gold Cup. Look at, obviously with the connections, are they going to go the Ryanair, the Gold Cup? I think they have to go for the Gold Cup. They probably won't beat Allaho in the Ryanair anyway, even if it's their own race, but do you give him a chance or not?
Sure, who knows? The Gold Cup is a mad race, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, as Ted said, I thought Ted was brilliant on Looking Sunday. Like, as he said, years ago he would have thought that you needed an Arkle, you need a flying bolt, a Taudo Star Demon to win a Gold Cup. You don't. You need to get lucky on the day.
Yeah.
You need to get lucky on the day, get your horse there in good shape. So, why not? Have a go, Eddie and Michael.
Manella Indo is 6 to 1 Ante Post for the Gold Cup.
Is he the most likely winner of the Gold Cup right now?
I've no idea, Dave. I can't decide. It's a very, very open race.
Try my best.
It's a very open race, isn't it?
Very open.
As we said earlier, he ran the same race as last year, beaten 6.5 lengths roughly. It's his 3rd run since the Gold Cup. Down Royal was fine. I had no issue with that. Obviously, Kempton was a bit of a mess, taking on Frodon. That didn't work at all. But Henry must, particularly the way Henry's horses are running, he must be thrilled with that performance by Manella Indo.
Absolutely, yeah.
And his record in Cheltenham, as we know, is brilliant. Then we're on to Facile Vega and the bumper. Beat Sandor Clegane by 12 lengths. Patrick said afterwards that was a bit, wow, he's a bit special. But he also said Redemption Day is up there with him, so that's interesting. He's now even money, I think, best price for the bumper. The last 2 winners at the bumper at at Leopardstown in the Dublin Racing Festival were Kilcrut last year and Appreciated. The 2 of them won very easy. And they ended up being beat by stable companions Sir Gerhard and Fernie Hollow.
Who won it the year before?
Envoy Allen.
Very good.
But a brilliant performance by Facile Vega.
That it?
I
thought you. No, I'm saying I thought you might give it a bit more oomph for Facile Vega.
The only thing to keep in mind is that battling Bessie, who's beaten a couple of short heads in the mare's race, she was beaten 17 lengths by American Mike Navan. So I suppose that did his form no harm.
Yeah.
But he'll have to be brilliant to beat him.
You're fighting for your player, aren't you? You're fighting for your striker.
Trying, but I think we could be in trouble there.
Yeah, I think so. That hill, Fasnavega is going to devour that hill.
Yeah. Also, and he'll do his mother proud. I'd say Quivega is down the shops talking to people, and you saw the sun on Sunday, did you? Oh yeah, no, he did well, yeah.
If she's acting like Annette Jennings, she will be anyway.
Sandown on Saturday, long press, beat Mr. Coffee by 21 lengths and 6 lengths to
Get
Pictory.
them hands up now.
So, yes.
We got it wrong.
We did.
Now, I was more lukewarm by the weekend.
You were. I just thought Pictory going into the race was 155, long press was 154, so Pictory was a pound in front. I thought long press would jump a little bit to his left. But you have to remember that Paul Nicholls' horses are just running horrendously.
Yeah, but it wouldn't matter how Pictory ran.
But just to keep it in perspective, like Mr. Coffee finished second, the race completely fell apart.
He beat 20-something lengths.
No, wait. Is that, you know, the last fence before the stands, Mr. Coffee took it by the roots and nearly broke the fence. And then
there's a good tweet from Andrew Cooper, actually. Did you see it?
No.
They fixed the fence and he sent we sent the invoice to 7 Barrows.
But down the back straight, Mr. Coffee is gone and he's jumping way out to his left and he ends up finishing second.
Horrible.
So I'm just saying to you, the race...
I used to love him.
Yeah. So the race fell apart, but long press, we've mentioned here before, we love him. He was very, very good in the Dipper, beating Alan King's mare by 10 lengths, giving her weight. So he's a brilliant horse.
But
I knew
there was a book coming.
No, I'm just saying that race fell apart completely.
Yeah.
Sure, it was a nothing race. And this is the problem with some of the English racing, is that the grade ones, there's no depth to them.
Yeah, I agree. But we did overemphasise probably the jump and left, I think, a little bit, okay? And this is one reason why, and I have to say, it was between Tuesday and Friday that I look back at Long Press. This is why you need to be a Racing Club member, because you can look back at every replay you can find. So you need to have the membership. Just click in, watch every replay. And I said to myself, do you know what? I had looked at this once before the show last week, looked at it again. I was going, I'm exaggerating here. He doesn't jump that much to his left. Yeah,
I just thought he did a bit in Ascot. So if he was going to do that against a horse rated higher than him at odds on, he was worth taking on. That was the logic.
Yeah, okay. We got it wrong.
Paul Nicholls, 2 from 40 in the last 2 weeks, which is 5%. And up till then, in the first half of the season, he was 23%. So obviously there's something going on there. A High Senior Weatherby on Saturday. I forgot to mention the long press is 92 Ante Post for the turners. Much bigger for the Brown Advisory, but more likely to go for the turners.
Absolutely, 100%, yeah.
A High Senior Weatherby on Saturday is now 11-2 Ante Post for the Brown Advisory, 25-1 for the Gold Cup. Jumped. This is another contradiction, is that to me, as he showed, it was at Carlisle and Kempton, not so good. He was very good at Newbury. He was very good again on Saturday at Weatherby. He jumps a tiny bit to his right, but he's better going left-handed.
Yeah, you know who he's like? Apple's Shade. Do you remember Apple's Shade?
Yeah.
Just she come into a hurdle.
Just
she goes
shifts
slightly,
herself, yeah.
Shifts herself. He's the same.
Yeah, just sets himself up on a right leg or whatever it is. So, a High Senior jumped very, very well. Beat Noble Yates by 5.5 lengths. Was a very, very easy winner. He's a fine stamp of a horse, so I'd love to see him going on the Brown Advisory.
Yeah, finished second to Gallop in the Champs.
He would. On to Leopardstown on Sunday. We're going to start with Party Central. Beat Say Goodbye by an easy 1 3/4 lengths. We were saying last week in the show, hopefully Davy will time it right, come there late, cruising on the outside and jump the last and go in front. So Davy
did you have even a millisecond of worry? No, it's just blissful to watch from your point of view, I'd imagine.
Yeah, no, it was very easy. Now, she tied up in front and she only won by 1 3/4
She does nothing when she hits
No,
the front.
nothing.
It was the same punch as him.
Yeah, and we had said that last week. And she swished the tail. When the other horse came up behind her, she swished the tail after the line. So I think Davy Russell, as brilliant as he was there, he's going to have to be even more ballsy at Cheltenham.
Yeah. Where would she go? Would she not have to go for a handicap?
No, she'll go for the mare's novice hurdle. She's gone up 14 pounds from 121 to 135. She's now got the same rating as Allegory Devassi, so she's there. It's on the new track. It's 2 mile 1.
Did she go up a stone? Yeah,
she did. Yeah,
I would have thought she might have got away with less than that.
And I just can't wait to see Davy Russell riding her, and he'll wait and wait. He won't bring her at the last because there's a longer run in Cheltenham up that hill. He'll wait till after the last. If you want to go and back her now, I'd say 9-10-1. You'll definitely trade out of her at 3-1 in running. I think she'll probably be favourite before the turn in running because she'll be. I'm not saying she'll win, but
it's interesting she went up a stone. Yeah. Sandy Shaw wasn't fooled by the stopping in front.
No.
Okay.
But no, an excellent, a very, very good mare. And she, as I said, she's 10-1 for mare's novice hurdle. On to Gallop in the Champ. We spoke about him earlier. Brilliant horse. The first down the back, he lunged at it. And then he was a little bit careful at the next one. And then also at the third last. Just to keep in mind, that race was 2 mile 5 and 63 yards. If he's going to go in the turners, it's exactly 1.5 furlongs less. So I don't see the logic of that really. But
I hope from running the turners.
Like the last twice, even at Christmas over 2.5, this was 2.5 and 63 yards. When he goes by the line, like Paul Townend is struggling to pull him up.
Yeah.
And definitely his long-term target is going to be the Gold Cup. So
someday Leopardstown is going to get the Bray.
Yeah. But a brilliant performance. He's an excellent horse. Afterwards, Willie said, I wasn't as happy with him with his jumping than I was at Christmas. My heart was in my mouth jumping those fences down the back. So I think it'll have an easier race over 3 mile.
Yep.
Capodanno fell, blundered at the 5th. Beacon Edge fell at the next one. But still, there was 2 good horses, 2nd and 3rd.
Fury Road was disappointing. Didn't jump well.
Yeah, no, he's in and out sort of a horse, isn't he?
Yeah.
Also on Sunday, your horse, Shack and Poursois, who's also another brilliant horse. He's got a rating now of 176. To keep it in perspective, Energumina's 175 and Shishkin's 177. So in theory, he's bang there with the 2 boys to make it another brilliant race that we saw at Ascot in the champion chase. At the same time, he beats Dunvegan by 12 lengths. Like, you'd want to be beating Dunvegan by 12 lengths, wouldn't you? The thing I'd have against him, I wouldn't worry about the Sandown run at all, really. It was just one of those things, a bit of an injury.
Yeah.
But just in my head is Cheltenham last year, he doesn't have to lead, right? He didn't lead on Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
I know.
He did at Punchestown. So the idea that at Cheltenham, because he didn't lead, he didn't lead against Dunvegan.
Yeah, but he wasn't tailed off at Cheltenham.
No, I know that, but it's just in the back of my head, and also that he's 10, so that's my 2 things.
Yeah.
But he's a brilliant horse.
The 10 thing is a big thing with you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Just he's not improving.
Can't make him any younger, Gavin.
No, but he's a brilliant horse now at the same time. Honeysuckle, 14 out of 14, beats Annie here by 6.5 lengths. Echoes and Rain, who I tipped up for the
They
county
were happy.
hurdle. I was too happy in ways. I wasn't happy. Is that she finished 3rd, a bit too close, and she's gone from 143 to 149.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, no, that's... somebody asked me afterwards, what did she go to? And I said 149 based on Zana here and also Sanwa behind. So that was roughly the rating I thought she'd go to. The only good thing is, even though she's gone up £6, I think she might still go to the county. And that's her best ever run, because up to this she was a 143 mare. And she ran much better this time. So even though she's £6 higher, it was a very good run. So
yeah, absolutely. Good pick.
I think she'd still have a chance in that. Now we're on to what I think was the performance of the weekend. And that's Sir Gerhard in the 2 mile, the Tattersall's Ireland.
Is it better than Facile Vega?
No, just in terms of, in terms of its own category, it's a novice hurdler. Didn't jump very well, as we know, but the time was really brilliant. It goes...
Okay, give us the time then.
Okay, so I've compared it to Honeysuckle and also to the handicap hurdle. So from the last hurdle plus the circuit, Sir Gerhard is 8 lengths quicker than Honeysuckle, carrying £7 more.
Yep.
And is also 8 lengths quicker from the 4th last.
Yeah.
And compared to the handicap hurdle, it was from the 4th last, was 24 lengths quicker than the handicap hurdle.
Yeah.
Which was on a good gallop.
Did you think so? I thought there was 10 horses that could win it at second last.
Yeah, but a lot of the winners, like the winners all came from the midfield or towards the back. None of the winners stayed there at the end. Also what I did was I checked, the handicap hurdle didn't have to jump the second last. It went through the wings. Honeysuckle did jump the second last, and Sir Gerhard had to go around the second last. So I timed all those as well. Okay. Between the corner and the corner. And
you were a busy boy, weren't you?
So Sir Gerhard, it took him about a second longer. So I'm just saying to you, that was an inconvenience to him. So in that regard, I think he's gone and beaten Honeysuckle by 12 lengths.
Okay.
So I think it's a brilliant performance.
Where do you think he should run?
Sure, look, that's just up to Willie Mullins and nobody else. But I'd imagine he's a very fast horse. I think he'd maybe go for the Supreme. Now the jumping I think the jumping is obviously a bit of an issue. He jumped really well at Christmas. He was very low and he was quick over them. This time, I've watched it a few times. He was good at the second and third. The ones down the back, he's flicking through them, and
losing
so that's not
ground
ideal.
on three-stripe life at hurdles.
Yeah. Just to tell you another stat here for that Tattersall's Ireland novice hurdle, the 2 miler. So Willie Mullins has won that 9 times before Sunday. Mark Boylan, who's a bit of a legend in the Racing Post, fantastic chap, he told me this morning that he's won it 9 times. 5 of them went to the Supreme, and the record of those 5 is 1, 1, 1, 4 and 1. And the fellow who's fourth was Steering for Launch, who jumped out to his right. And the 4 horses that went up to the Ballymore and the Bartlett, the results of those is 7-3 FP.
But it used to be run over 2 mile too.
Yeah, and more recently 2 miles the last few years or so. But it's still interesting.
So you think Sir Gerhard will go Supreme and Dysart Dynamo will go Ballymore?
I'd say it's 50-50, but maybe.
I don't know. I just watched the race and I thought from the last, even halfway up the run into the line, he was going away again. He's easier to manage than Dysart Dynamo. I'd say he could step up and trim.
Yeah, he's by Jeremy, and that would tell you that he's bred for a bit more speed. The breeding on Dysart Dynamo side is all about staying. So
yeah, and then you've Kilcrut to come into the mix as well. Like
Kilcrut will definitely go to the Supreme, and I'd give him a squeak. I thought last week he was definitely back to his best.
Okay.
So,
but Sir Gerhard is still your number one Supreme horse.
Yeah, I think if he runs in the Supreme, he'll win it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be confident he'd beat Constitution Hill based on that time alone.
Oh, okay.
Also, we'll quickly mention Musselburgh on Sunday. Impulsive won. That two good cards Saturday and Sunday in Preston. Had a rating before Sunday of 127 for Nicky Henderson, James Bowen. Travelled well, jumped well, won very, very easy. He had a good run before third to Night Salute in Porticello at Doncaster. So if he goes for the Boodles, he'd have to have a chance. He's 14s for that. And to finish with the big galloper for Charles Burns, well named because that's what he is. He's a big horse and he stays galloping very, very well. He ran off 122 here. I don't know what his new rating is, but he'll go for the Pertemps final, I presume, because that was a qualifier. And he's 14-1 for that. And also, good time Johnny won't be going to Cheltenham. He tried it before and Tony Martin said he didn't like it.
Yeah, so. You just wonder though when it gets closer to the time and they see their favourite for the Coral Cup, will they have a go?
And there's one other last little thing is St. Felicien, I believe, is a rating of 146. And I see people backing it for the Martin Pipe on the odds comparison websites. Don't back him for the Martin Pipe because he can't run it.
Okay, so that was?
The week that was.
The week that was. So Gavin, I said it earlier on in the show. Long Press was my lay of the weekend and then I watched the videos.
Okay.
We're not giving Long Press enough credit because he didn't jump as much to his left as he did. And the reason I did that, because I was watching replays. You have got to watch replays. You have got to become a Racing Post Club member. They've got to, Gavin.
Yep.
They've got to become a member. You can watch replays. You can get tips from Tom Segal, Paul Kealy, and all our wide variety of tipsters in the Racing Post. And you can even read the next day's newspaper after 9 o'clock. The digital version is online after 9 o'clock, so you get all the news first. That's if you become a Racing Post Club member. And to sign up, you'll see up in the Ante description, okay?
There's also a lot of great articles as well.
There's a few of them, yeah. There's a few of them. We've got our Racing Post Writer of the Year, Liam Watershed, which you can read. Richie Forrestal, brilliant writers in the Racing Post. What's not to like? Sign up now, 15 quid a month, become a Racing Post Club member. So each week here on Upping The Ante, we preview one of the greatest races at the Cheltenham Festival. And we're getting closer, Gavin. We're getting closer to the end because we've reached the JCB Triumph Hurdle. And at the moment with Bet365, we have 9-4 joint favourites. The first and second home from Puncheshead at New Year's Eve. It is Pied Piper and Vauban. It is 8-1 Fildor. It is 16-1 Porticello. And it's 20-1 Bar. Who would have thought that day? Well, maybe we did. We knew it was a good maiden hurdle at Puncheshead. Who would have thought we'd have two clear standout performers for the Triumph Hurdle in a maiden hurdle at Puncheshead on New Year's Eve.
They finished a long way clear that day. And as Patrick said about Davy, he used the dark arts. He crossed over Paul and then he crossed over him again and stuff. So that was interesting. Totally right that they're joint favourites because it's very, very difficult to split them. There's only a half length between them that day. Obviously, since then, Pied Piper bolted up in a poor race in Cheltenham. Vauban then wins the other day in Leopardstown. I don't know how you choose between them.
Well, which one would you prefer?
Don't know.
Just pick one, just for the good of the show.
Just to shut you up.
Yeah, just to shut me up. I'm going to keep prodding at you.
I'd say maybe Pied Piper slightly the better jumper.
Okay.
But it's very tricky. I think the only chance that Fildor has really is if something like, as you said, Porticello goes a million miles an hour, the ground is soft and it turns into a staying race because he's definitely a 2.5, 3
Is it an overreaction though to see the price that he is now like?
It's hard to see him turn it on Vauban. Now, the other day, it didn't suit him. They went too slow. There was nobody went on. And Davey kind of had to nearly take it up himself, a mile out or whatever. So it turned into a bit of a sprint, which suited Vauban. But
I think Fildor is going to be better when he has something to really aim at. Something properly to aim at between the second last and the last. Davey will set his target, or Jack, set his target and say, right, that's who I have to get to. And I think Fildor is a better horse that way. But as you say, it's just very hard to see that form being reversed because I think Vauban did an awful lot wrong.
He did?
An awful lot wrong, and he still won by 3 lengths.
Yeah, he jumped poorly and jumped out to his right.
Yeah, and to me, he's going to get better, and I think his jumping is going to improve. And speed and ability-wise, I'd say he probably has the most ability in the race. I would have been shocked to tip anything else other than Pied Piper going into last weekend, but I actually think Vauban is the most likely winner.
If you owned Fildor and only Fildor, you'd actually put a pacemaker into the race. You'd do the Aidan O'Brien on it just to try and get a bit of pace into it. And the other thing to note, which is very, very rare, is that it's 33-1 bar 6 horses for the
Unbelievable,
Triumph.
yeah.
So Yeah, people are not really rating the Porticello a night salute.
Have you found that at a massive price now?
Well, Ante Tomp that was third the other day. First run of grade 1, like if that improved 6, 8, 10 pounds, it has to be bang there. So
Like these horses that he finds are just unbelievable. I presume Harold buys plenty of them, but like this is unbelievable.
So I'd say what he'll do there with Ante Tomp is that it'll run the Triumph Hurdle in the grade 1. It'll go to Punchestown for the grade 1. And then if it doesn't win either of those, it'll be a novice hurdler for next season, do you know? It didn't jump brilliant, that Ante Tomp, but at 20 to 1, if you're looking for an outsider, it has to be him.
Okay, so I'm handing you a free bet docket. Triumph Hurdle is in 5 minutes, Gavin. Who are you backing? It's in 5 minutes. You have to pick quick. Who are you backing?
Pied Piper.
Pied Piper. I'm Vauban. So yes, Up in the Ante viewers, what you want to know now is what's happening this week. And it's not quite the Dublin Racing Festival. It's like Dublin Racing Festival Light. But it is a super weekend at Newbury and Warwick. And we're going to kick off at Warwick with the Kingmaker Novices Chase. And we could see a big showdown here between Edward Stone and Third Time Lucky. Who do you like out of those two, Gavin?
At the moment, Edward Stone is £6 in hand on ratings, 159 against 153. Is Brave Shaska going to run?
Could run, yeah. Entered, yeah.
So that's 4 to 1. That's got a lot to find. That's actually maybe my grand annual horse. It's got a current rating of 145. It went up from 137. Won easy the last day. It's 2 from 2 at Warwick. So I hope that finishes third, but runs a nice race.
Okay. You'll be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, I don't want him
for
to
the
run
grand
too
annual.
well.
Okay, it's going to be interesting. I wouldn't be one bit surprised if Edward Stone perhaps won this and Third Time Lucky won the Arkle.
Really?
That might sound bonkers, but I think the Arkle is tailor-made for Third Time Lucky, and Edward Stone has already won around Warwick. It's going to be a great race if the two of them show up.
Yeah, no, very good race. And with all the Irish candidates that's left, because Appreciate and Fernie Hollow aren't in it, with all the Irish candidates there at the weekend, Leopardstown, and now we've got the English candidates. So between the two races, obviously we'll know a lot more.
And over to a Super Saturday at Newbury. And Gavin, the Denman Chase.
Yeah.
Clandazobo, Royal Pagaille. We could see Eldorado Allen stepping up and trip. Where does your fancy lie?
It just all depends. If the real Clandazobo shows up, if Paul Nicholls was banging in the winners, you'd back him at any price. But he's 4 to 5. He's got £6 clearing ratings. I'm not always in love with horses that get ratings from handicaps, which Royal Pagaille has got. It doesn't mean that he's a 166 horse, maybe against the grade 1s, do you know? Like he struggled in last year's Gold Cup. So Clandazobo should win, but I won't back it just because of the form of Paul's horses.
I fancy Royal Pagaille.
Okay.
I think we could see a proper Gold Cup contender here.
Will he get his ground?
I'm sure there'll be a bit of cutting it anyway. I think he'll be okay. I think Newbury is... I think maybe Cheltenham mightn't suit him. I think a flat track like Newbury might suit him better.
Yeah, sure, look at Clandazobo could be bet 20 lengths. You don't know at the moment.
Don't know, yeah. The Game Spirit Chase, and if Paul Nicholls' horses were informed, this would be my banker of bankers of bankers. Hitman would be an absolute good thing, I think, to beat So Royal. Fun and Bold Savola is in there as well. But to me, Hitman, who missed Christmas, missed the Desert Orchid clash with Shishkin and Greenatine, comes here instead, has been kept for the race. I know Paul's horse are not in good form, but this horse would be a certainty, Gavin, if he was right. Yeah,
but it's just, it's in that case, you can't have a bet. If this is the horse you really fancy and the horse are out of form, you just have to watch it.
Yeah, I think so.
So Royal won it last year, beat your pal, and he's got a rating of 163, so he's the highest rated, but he is a 10-year-old.
Yeah, and I go back to that fighting fifth all the time. I just wonder, did it take a lot out of him? Came there tanking, and then it was a tough race that day in the fighting fifth. To me, Hitman is getting better. He's going to be a smashing horse. He's not Shishkin. He's not Shaq and Persuade. He's not Energamine, but he's the next level.
Do you back Paul Nicholls' horses just this week?
I know.
I'm only asking.
I know. I see your point. Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to know.
But Hitman for me. Hopefully, Paul's will be back in form by then, and you can smash into Hitman. And the big race on Saturday, it is the Betfair Hurdle at 3:35. Gavin, have you a strong fancy?
Not really. Maybe Soaring Glory. He's off 147. He's ran a couple of races this year that smaller runner fields. The race in Newbury was run very slow. Back to a bigger field, although it's not a huge entry for this race, which is strange.
16, yeah.
So that might end up at 10 or 12. But I just thought, fast run race, plenty of cover. Won it last year, maybe him each way.
I think he's got a chance, right? I can see your point with Soaring Glory, but the British handicapper this year has novices so low.
So low, yeah.
So low.
Yeah.
There are 4 horses here towards the top of the market that are solo, yeah. No, he didn't, did he?
Did he?
Did he win on Saturday?
Dalas
won on Saturday, yeah. There's so many horses in here that are so well handicapped, I think. JPR1 has to be well handicapped, okay?
Yeah.
Has to be. Simply has to be. You've got Broomfield, Berg. Has to be well. Like, these are all running off the 130s like you're talking about. But I have to say, all season, I have thought your Betfair hurdle winner was I Like to Move It. He's run off 138. He's got to give a couple of pound to the horses I've just mentioned. But he just needs a really strong run race. The long home straight at Newbury is going to really suit him. And to me, if he gets his jumping together, and there has been gradual improvement, the race last time didn't suit him with John Bond. It was a sprint. He doesn't want sprints. He wants a stamina test. He's going to get that here. I think Newbury's going to suit him. I think 138 underplays him. Whether it is too high, given weight to the other horses, I don't know. But he's definitely well handicapped. Maybe the others are better handicapped. He's
8-1.
He's 8-1. I Like to Move It. Has been my idea of the Betfair hurdle winner since Christmas, so you're talking 6 weeks. So.
Okay. Just to mention as well, Nace on Saturday, we've got the listed Opera Hat Mirrors Chase. Perhaps we'll see Ellie May in that. I hope we do. There's also a decent 3-mile Hunter's Chase. The Hunter's Chase scene hasn't really...
Sure, Billaway will probably show up in that, will he?
Sure, probably, yeah, and make a few mistakes and maybe win. On to Punchdown on Sunday, there's a decent novice hurdle and a decent novice chase, both over 2 miles, so
yeah,
we'll keep an eye on that.
Interesting. Plenty to find out this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully next week we're talking about I Like to Move It, winning the Betfair hurdle. It's Up in the Stakes time, where myself and Gavin try to pick out one horse running this week who can add some much needed funds to Cancer Trials Ireland. And Gavin, my old buddy, did it last week, Party Central. We needed it. I did not run it a week before. We needed just to get back on the horse.
Back on the even
we had a
keel,
good start, bit of a middle, and Party Central did the business. So that fund is beefing up all the time, Gavin. Where is your Up in the Stakes? You're going for 2 in a row. Where is your charity bet this week?
I just don't fancy anything really in those races that we mentioned, maybe in Warwick or in Newbury on Saturday. So I'm not sure what price she'll be, but I'll have the 50 quid on. I'm hoping Ellie May. The entries are out this afternoon. Hopefully Ellie May runs in the Opera Hat. She won it last year. So I'll have the 50 quid in her. 50
quid win, Ellie May in the Opera Hat Chase at Nace on Saturday. And I'm sure you've guessed my selection by now. It is I Like to Move It. 3:35 Newbury on Saturday in the Betfair hurdle. I'm going to have 50 quid on the nose at 8-1 Bet365. I Like to Move It. So folks, it's Ante Post picks time. Yes, myself and Gavin are going to add one to our Ante Post lists for the 2022 Cheltenham Festival. Gavin, would you like to go first or second?
I'll go second, Dave.
Go second, okay. You get mine out of the way first. We'll keep viewers intrigued for a little bit longer. And I never thought I'd do this, Gavin. Never in a month of Sundays did I ever think I would be tipping this horse
going for a
race at Cheltenham. I am going for a bit of a travelly thing. But I went into last weekend thinking to myself that Blue Lord would win the Arkle. Pretty convinced of it. Expected him to win and win easily. He went off 5-2, which would be mad, wasn't it? But I came out of last weekend going, maybe Blue Lord just isn't the horse that I thought he was.
Lucky winner.
He was a lucky winner. He won, and all you can do is win, and he's a gorgeous horse. God, to look at, he's a gorgeous horse. But Gavin, I think this is the one race where I think the Irish are extremely poor.
Okay.
Of the grade ones at the Cheltenham Festival. You've got Blue Lord, you've got Riviere de Tel, Saint Sam, Hot on Colours. You're going through them and you're going,
it's not
they're no more bigger.
It's
It's not the dream team. They all finished, obviously, in a little bit of a bunch on Saturday. And then I went through the race on Monday for a few hours and I narrowed it down to 2. And both of them are running against each other on Saturday in the Kingmaker. Edward Stone, lovely horse, absolutely smashing horse. But when it came down to it, Gavin, I'm utterly convinced the third time lucky is going to win the Arkle. And I was very disappointed with him. The second day he won at Cheltenham, I was disappointed, and I was disappointed in him at Sandown.
Yes.
But he is learning all the time. And it's interesting he's running Saturday because I think Harry Skelton has said to himself, it's all about teaching third time lucky. It's teaching. They tried to make the run on that day at Sandown against Edward Stone. And last time it was just a different.
You can see maybe why they did that, because he wasn't settling.
Yeah.
So you either hold him up last or you make the run. So.
Absolutely. So last time they held him up and he's running, I would say, Saturday to get that little bit more experience. And it's fantastic that he's running on Saturday because he had an overreach from Doncaster, but he's obviously okay. And I just look at that Arkle now and I say to myself, Riviere de Tel, if Saint Sam goes for the Arkle, maybe he won't. Blue Lord likes to be on. There's going to be loads of pace in the Arkle. There always is. Yeah. It's never a falsely run Arkle. It's always a really fast, generous gallop in the Arkle. They're going to go quick. It's going to be easier for Harry Skelton to settle third time lucky. And then you look back through all his form and you say to yourself, right, last year's County Hurdle, he travelled like the winner at second last and coming down the hill. Didn't quite get home because he was given a more aggressive ride. At Sandown he was beaten again. It was a similar sort of thing. This horse is pace. And I think the 2022 Arkle is tailor-made for third time lucky. And I think third time lucky, I don't know, is it his third time at the festival? It would be nice if it was, because I think it will be third time lucky for third time lucky. He's 7-1 with Bet365. To me, I think that's a little bit too big. So my latest contribution to my Ante Post list is third time lucky at 7-1 with Bet365 for the 2022 Arkle.
He'll be certainly open that he runs a big race on Saturday, but Warwick will suit him because he's a good jumper.
He is a good jumper. I don't even mind if he's beaten less than 3 lengths by Edward Stone. I think the Arkle is more his cup of tea than the Kingmaker.
Okay.
But if he wins, happy days, he's going to be favourite or near favourite for the Arkle.
Yeah.
There we go. Your turn.
I am going for a horse in the Albert Bartlett.
Copy of me?
No.
Not Manila Crooner?
No. A stable companion, Ginto. He won his point-to-point by 12 lengths in soft ground over 3 mile, and as a result then Bective Stud paid 440,000 sterling from him, I believe. So some money to pay for a horse. He was then second, staying on Inferius in a bumper. Then he won a bumper last February in Navan. He reappears there in November, wins a poor maiden hurdle very, very easily. Then he wins a grade 2 over 2.5 by 11 lengths from Eric Bloodaxe. Goes to Nace for what is a brilliant race every year. The Lawlers and Nace. And he beats Grand Jury in Hollow Games by 4.25 lengths. Hollow Games ran okay the other day, nothing special, but he was third, beaten 3 lengths. I like Ginto for the fact that he made the run and he was pushed along turning in. He looked maybe in trouble coming to 2 out. Grand Jury loomed up and you'd say to yourself, geez, he might get beat. And after the last, he really powered away. He won very, very easy in the end. He's a 3 mile chaser in the making. Connections will hope that he's going to end up in a Gold Cup someday. I think that Gordon has a couple of candidates maybe for the Ballymore, 3 Stripe Life and Mighty Potter. One of those I think will go to the Ballymore. They have more gears than this fella. Whether he maybe can rely on, Milena Crooner's got a great chance. Jerry Colomb, Hollow Games is not going to win the Bartlett or the Ballymore. He might end up in the handicap yet. So I'd say if you ask Gordon who's the best horse, I'd say he'd probably say Ginto. And Bet365 are a standout. Ante Post at 6-1. I think if he goes here, he'll be 5-2 favourite on the day.
Yeah, I certainly see where you're coming from. I'm all over Manila Crooner. He's probably one of my strongest fancies. I think Ginto is a better horse, and I think he will be a better horse, and I think he will run the Gold Cup. Manila Crooner mightn't, but just the Albert Bartlett is just made for Manila Crooner, I think. Yeah, I think it's between the two of them, I do. Yeah,
it could be. Gordon would love to get a winner for Bective Stud, and I think maybe, as you mentioned earlier, we were chatting off air about American Mike, etc., but I think Ginto could be his best chance. I think that the only way he'll run the Ballymore is if the ground came up really, really soft. And for nowadays, you can't see that happening. So I think he'll probably go to the Bartlett.
Okay, so Ginto at 6-1 with Bet365 is Gavin Lynch's latest selection for the 2022 Cheltenham Festival. Now, before we let you go racing off to back Ginto for the Albert Bartlett on Gavin Lynch's advice, we're going to have a look at our picks so far. And Gavin, my list, I had a look at it yesterday and I said, this is shaping up quite nicely. It's coming together. It's gradually coming together, and a couple of good runs at the weekend. Manila Crooner obviously tipped up at 10-1, is now into 6-1 with Bet365 for the Albert Bartlett. Ahoy Senior, he showed that he's fit, he's well, and
he's a good chance,
it's hard to see him beating Galloping the Champs, but it was a good run. And obviously Sporting John hopefully will go for the Pertemps final. That's obviously tipped up at 20-1, was a big price. Silver Forever, hopefully we'll see her soon for a Mayor's Chase. So overall, I have to say, even with Time Hill, the likes of Champ and Classical Dream disappointing, overall, I'm starting to get a little bit excited, Gavin.
Yeah, well, it's not a sprint, so.
Yeah, it's not a sprint. No, I started slowly. I was a bit like Paisley Park, but I think I'm coming with a run now.
You missed the break.
Yeah, good weekend for you overall.
Phil Dore got beat, but I suppose he still has an each way chance. Echoes and Rain ran too well. As we said, she's gone up £6 from 143 to 149, but I wouldn't be disheartened about that because it shows that she's in good form. It's her best ever run. The previous time she was beaten 15 lengths. This time is a much better run. So I don't mind.
Catch 22, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the £6 is fine. I still think she's got a chance. Obviously, Sir Gerhard was brilliant on the clock, and Galloping the Champ, so hopefully he goes for the 3 miler. I'd like to see him go there. I think maybe he will.
We can put that down. I think we can go 1-0, Gavin. I think we can put Galloping the Champs on the...
I think he'll win the Brown Advisor if he goes there, yeah.
I think so, yeah. I think he's a winner for you. So that is your list, and you've added Ginto to it at 6-1. Next week, Gavin, they'll have to tune in. It's getting closer, and the selections are getting more important the closer it gets.
Yeah, and also I do have a couple of handicappers in my head.
When are we getting a look at them?
We just need to see what ratings they get and what they're going in, and etc.
Might you unleash one next week?
Let's see.
Okay, stay tuned. They're going to have to watch to find out.
Yep.
That's our Ante Post list so far. So that's it for week 14 of Upping The Ante in association with Bet365. And you know what, Gavin? It's getting to that point where we're starting to think about Cheltenham Previews.
Yes.
Oh, yes, baby. I just booked my flight. I'm over in England on the 6th of March in Racing Post Studios in South Bank to do one with Tom Segal and Paul Kealy.
That's a good one every year.
It is. Racing Post
Very
Previews,
good.
6th of March. And fresh from their tip on Conflated at 50-1 in the Irish Gold Cup, Paul Kealy and Tom Segal will be sitting beside me. Who's the weakest link of that trio? Don't answer that. Don't answer it. Don't answer it, okay? Gavin, you are on a very, very nice panel. You're in a steam company.
Just to mention one there, Friday, February the 25th, Barberstown Castle, which is a lovely venue. And all proceeds from the ticket sales are going to the Injured Jockeys Fund. So a great cause, in fairness. MC is Gary O'Brien. There's Ruby Walsh, Davy Russell and myself. So I better go and do plenty of study before that. It's only a tenner, but already half the tickets are gone. So if you're thinking of going Friday the 25th, definitely ring Barberstown Castle in the next couple of days before the tickets are gone.
Nice. We looked at that for the wedding. Lovely venue.
Yeah, and they're even doing a thing there. They're doing a special for an overnight, and they're also got an early bird menu and stuff. So chat to them.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
So
And
should
you
be a good night.
Some details of your cycle.
Yeah, I hope to have news of our brand new website next week. So I'll chat to you next week about that. coastcora.ie.
Stay tuned.
Hopefully we're nearly finished.
So what's in store for Gavin Lynch this week then?
The weather's too bad for a game of golf anyway, so we'll see.
Fair weather golf for you?
Well, 10 degrees, I'd say we need.
Anything else lined up?
No, I don't think so. Looking forward to the race on Saturday. It should be good. And you?
Yeah, not really, no. Working and doing normal things, really.
Yeah,
Nothing too exciting this week.
Quiet week after last week.
You know what we're going to do, actually? It's Valentine's Day next Monday. Just remember, I know you don't usually remember, it's the 14th of February this year.
So you have to remember Valentine's Day because it's then 4 weeks and a day to Cheltenham. Is that why you are?
I hope Anne-Marie doesn't watch this show. But this year, I don't know why, but this year it's the 14th of February, Valentine's Day. So me and Eve are going to cinema.
Brilliant.
Going to cinema. We might go see Belfast.
Belfast is good, yeah.
Yeah, we might go see
Not
Belfast.
a lot happens, but it's good.
So that's it. Remember, get the flowers in 14th of February, Valentine's Day is next Monday. So that's it, Gavin.
Yep.
That's it. 5 weeks to go until the Cheltenham Festival. That means when we're standing here in this very space next week, there'll only be 4 weeks to go to the Cheltenham Festival. God, I'm getting excited, Gavin.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great.
Getting excited.
It's actually just to say to you, I think it's been as good a national hunt season as I can ever remember.
Ever.
Yeah, honestly, it's been brilliant.
Did you say that last year?
No.
And the year before?
No.
No. But this year is especially good. And Upping The Ante hopefully has been just as good. Has it, Gavin?
Yeah.
I don't know. But that was week 14. Next week it'll be week 15. We had a ball, didn't we?
Yep.
That was week 14 of Upping The Ante in association with Bet365 with David Jennings and Gavin Lynch, counting down to the 2022 Cheltenham Festival. Thanks for watching.